The blue glow of the computer screens lit up Dr. Lee Minho's tired face as he stared at the strange signals coming from deep space. It was 3 in the morning at the Antarctic monitoring station, and most of his team had gone to sleep hours ago, but Minho could not rest. Something was wrong with the transmission they had been receiving for 3 weeks now. The signal came from a place so far away that the light from its star took over 1,000 years to reach Earth. Yet somehow, this message was getting to them much faster than light should travel. That alone made it impossible. But the readings on his instruments did not lie. Kim Soyoung walked into the control room carrying 2 cups of hot coffee. She was the station's best codebreaker, and like Minho, she had been losing sleep over this mystery. "Any luck with the pattern?" she asked, handing him a steaming cup. Minho shook his head. "It keeps changing. Look at this." He pointed to the screen where waves of data scrolled past in endless rows. 3 weeks ago, the signal was steady and organized. Now it is getting more desperate. Patterns repeat faster and faster, like someone is running out of time. Soyoung sat down at her workstation and pulled up the decryption program she'd been working on. For days, she had been trying different mathematical approaches to unlock the meaning hidden in the alien transmission. Every language on Earth followed certain rules. If this was really a message from another world, it had to follow some kind of logic too. "Wait," she said suddenly, her fingers flying across the keyboard. "I think I found something. The signal is not just random noise. There are mathematical sequences hidden inside, but they are wrapped in layers of other data." Minho moved closer to watch her work. On Soyoung's screen, numbers and symbols danced in patterns that seemed almost alive. She had created a program that could peel away the outer layers of the transmission, like removing the skin from an onion. "There," she whispered. "The first layer is coming off." What appeared on the screen made both scientists step backward. The alien symbols were transforming into something that looked almost like human mathematics. Prime numbers, geometric shapes, and basic arithmetic that any intelligent species would understand. "They are using math as a universal language," Minho breathed. "Just like we always hoped aliens would do if they ever tried to contact us." Soyoung's program continued working, and more layers of the message began to reveal themselves. But as the translation progressed, both scientists felt a growing sense of dread. The mathematical patterns were not random or peaceful. They pulsed with an urgency that felt like screaming. The door to the control room opened, and Park Ji-woo, the station director, entered. He was an older man who had spent 40 years listening to the stars, always hoping to hear proof that Earth was not alone in the universe. "Any progress?" he asked. "Too much progress," Soyoung replied, her voice shaking slightly. "Director, you need to see this." The final layer of encryption fell away, and words appeared on the screen. Not human words, but concepts that the computer could translate into language that made terrible sense. "Help us. They consume worlds. We are the last. Please, anyone, help us." The 3 scientists stood in silence as the message repeated over and over. Each time it played, the signal grew slightly weaker, as if the power source sending it was slowly dying. "How long has this been repeating?" Ji-woo asked quietly. "Non-stop for 3 weeks," Minho answered. "But it is getting weaker every day. And look at this." He switched to another screen that showed astronomical data. "We have been tracking unusual readings from the same star system. Massive gravitational changes, like entire planets, are disappearing." Soyoung enhanced the translation program and found more details hidden in the signal. "There are coordinates here and what looks like technical data about their solar system. They are telling us exactly where they are. They are telling us exactly what is happening to them," Ji-woo added grimly. "Something is destroying their worlds, and they are asking the entire universe for help." The message continued its endless loop, growing fainter with each repetition. Somewhere in the darkness between stars, an entire civilization was crying out as they faced extinction. They had sent their last desperate signal into the void. Not knowing if anyone would hear or care, Minho looked at his colleagues. "We have to report this immediately. Every government on Earth needs to know what we have found." "But what can we do?" Soyoung asked. They are over 1,000 light-years away. Even if we sent a message back right now, it would take centuries. To reach them, by then, they will be long dead. Jiwoo was already reaching for the emergency communication device that could contact world leaders within minutes. Maybe we cannot help them, he said. But the universe just told us that we are not alone, and that something out there destroys entire civilizations for sport. Earth needs to know that we might be next. As he activated the global alert system, the alien message continued its desperate plea, growing weaker with each repetition, like a voice crying out in the darkness before falling silent forever. The underground command center in Seoul buzzed with activity as world leaders gathered around the massive circular table. Admiral Choi Tae-min had never seen so many powerful people in one room at the same time. Presidents, prime ministers, generals, and scientists from every major nation on Earth sat in tense silence as they listened to the alien message play for the 100th time. Help us. They consume worlds. We are the last. Please, anyone, help us. The words echoed through the reinforced concrete chamber, each repetition sending chills down the spines of everyone present. Dr. Yoon Ha-jin stood at the front of the room, pointing to holographic displays that showed the Kepler 442 star system. In terrifying detail, the gravitational readings confirm our worst fears, she explained, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she was reporting. In the past month, 3 planets in that system have completely vanished. Not destroyed, or broken apart, but actually gone. Something is systematically consuming entire worlds. General Kung Dong-wook slammed his fist on the table. We are just going to sit here and do nothing? An entire species is being wiped out while we debate? What exactly do you suggest we do? Asked President Chen Wai-ming from the Chinese delegation. They are 1,200 light-years away. Even our fastest spacecraft would take millions of years to reach them. That is not entirely true, said a quiet voice from the back of the room. Everyone turned to look at Dr. Shin Yu-jin, a woman most of them had never seen before. She wore a simple black suit and carried a briefcase that seemed too ordinary for such an extraordinary meeting. Admiral Tae-min nodded at her. Dr. Shin, please tell them about Project Prometheus. Yu-jin walked to the front of the room and connected a device to the holographic display system. New images appeared showing massive underground facilities and strange machines that looked more like science fiction than reality. For the past 15 years, we have been working on theoretical weapon systems, she began. Technologies that could deliver payloads across interstellar distances using quantum entanglement principles. We never thought we would need them. The room erupted in shocked whispers. Many of the leaders had no idea such research was being conducted. Are you telling us that we can actually fight something 1,200 light-years away? Asked the British Prime Minister. Not fight, Yu-jin corrected. Strike. Can deliver weapons anywhere in the galaxy within hours, not centuries. The aliens who sent the distress signal included their exact coordinates. They have unknowingly given us everything we need for a precision attack. Director Ru Song-woo from the Korean Space Agency stood up. But we do not know what we are fighting. These machines or creatures or whatever they are have the power to consume entire planets. What makes us think our weapons can stop them? Because they have never faced real resistance, General Dong-wook replied. Think about it. If they could be stopped by conventional weapons, someone would have stopped them already. But what if they have never encountered a species that fights the way humans fight? Dr. Lim Jae-sung, another scientist from the Prometheus project, activated another display. Our analysis of the alien technology suggests they are incredibly advanced, but focused entirely on consumption and expansion. They appear to have no concept of warfare, as we understand it. That could be our advantage, Admiral Tae-min said thoughtfully. Throughout human history, we have been warriors. We've spent thousands of years perfecting the art of destroying our enemies. These machines might be unprepared for the kind of violence humans are capable of. The debate continued for hours. Some argued that humanity should remain hidden, that responding to the alien signal would reveal Earth's location. To whatever was destroying civilizations across the galaxy, others insisted that Earth had a moral duty to help. Captain Bae Soo-jin, who commanded Earth's Deep Space Defense Network, presented the most sobering argument. If we do nothing, We are not just condemning one species to extinction. We are allowing a threat to continue growing until it eventually finds us. This enemy consumes worlds to fuel its expansion. Every planet they take makes them stronger. But if we attack and fail, countered the Russian representative, we might bring this threat directly to Earth. They are already coming, Dr. Hadjin said quietly. Our long-range sensors show gravitational disturbances in multiple star systems. This is not an isolated incident. Something is spreading across the galaxy, consuming everything in its path. Admiral Taman looked around the room at the faces of humanity's leaders. Fear, uncertainty, and determination mixed together in their expressions. The weight of the decision pressed down on everyone present. We have spent centuries wondering if we are alone in the universe, he said finally. Now we know we are not. Someone out there needs our help, and we have the power to give it. The question is not whether we can act, but whether we will. Vote was called. One by one, each nation cast their decision. When the final count was announced, the result was unanimous. Earth would respond to the desperate signal. Not with words or diplomacy, but with the full force of humanity's hidden arsenal. The sleeping giant had been awakened, and its response would be swift, silent, and final. The elevator descended for what felt like an eternity through solid rock beneath the Gobi Desert. Dr. Shin. Yujin watched the numbers climb higher as they went deeper underground. Level 50, 60, 80. Finally, at level 93, the SE doors opened with a soft hiss. Colonel Han Minsu stepped out first, his military boots echoing against the polished metal floor. Behind him, Yujin and her assistant Lim Jae-sung followed into a facility that officially did not exist. Welcome to Project Prometheus, Yujin said, as massive blast doors opened before them. The most classified weapons program in human history. The chamber beyond was enormous, carved out of the earth like an underground city. Machines the size of buildings hummed with power, their surfaces covered in blinking lights and displays that showed incomprehensible data. Hundreds of technicians moved between the devices like ants, preparing systems that had never been used outside of computer simulations. 15 years of work, Jae-sung whispered, staring up at the quantum entanglement arrays that towered above them. We always hoped we would never need to activate these systems. Minsu walked to the central control platform where dozens of screens showed the current status of Earth's hidden arsenal. How long until everything is ready? The quantum matrix has been charging for 3 days, Yujin replied, checking her tablet. We can begin operations within 6 hours. But Colonel, you need to understand what we are about to unleash. She led them to another section of the facility where massive containers were being loaded into delivery systems. Each container was marked with symbols that made Minsu's blood run cold. Antimatter warheads, Yujin explained. Each one contains enough energy to destroy a small moon. We have been producing them slowly over the years, never knowing if we would need them. They moved to the next area where smaller, more complex devices were being prepared. These looked almost alive, with surfaces that seemed to shift and change. As they watched, self-replicating hunter-killer drones, Jae-sung said, once deployed, they multiply exponentially.
Oh.
Each drone can build copies of itself using any available materials. They are programmed to identify and eliminate specific targets, while avoiding anything that matches Earth's biological signatures. Minsu picked up one of the inactive drones. It was surprisingly light, no bigger than his hand, but he knew that millions of these could spread across an entire star system within days. And this is our most dangerous weapon, Yujin said, leading them to a section sealed behind multiple security barriers. Inside, a single device sat on a pedestal, surrounded by warning signs in every language on Earth. Gravitational disruptor, she explained. It can destabilize the nuclear fusion process inside a star. Essentially, we can turn any sun into a weapon against our enemies. The weight of what they were preparing hit Minsu like a physical blow. Humanity had not just built weapons of war, they had created tools of apocalypse. How is this possible? He asked. How did we develop technology that seems decades ahead of anything the public knows about? Fear, Eugen replied simply. After. We detected the first signs of intelligent life in the galaxy 50 years ago. World governments began preparing for the possibility that we might not be alone. We've been working in secret ever since, developing weapons for a war we hoped would never come. An alarm sounded throughout the facility, and technicians began moving with increased urgency. On the central display, data from the alien signal appeared in real time. The message is getting weaker, reported Dr. Kim So-young, who had been transported from Antarctica to help coordinate the attack. Whatever's happening in that star system, it is accelerating. It may only have ours before. The last survivors are eliminated. Eugen activated the quantum entanglement system, and the entire facility vibrated with power. On screens around the room, targeting data appeared showing the exact coordinates provided by the desperate alien signal. The beauty of quantum entanglement, she explained to Min-Su, is that distance means nothing. We can deliver our weapons instantly to any point in the universe, as long as we know exactly where to send them. Lieutenant Oh Se-hun ran up to them, carrying a tablet full of astronomical data. Ma'am, we have identified the enemy. Long-range sensors show massive artificial structures in the target system. They appear to be dismantling the planet's peace. By peace, converting the matter into more machines. A self-replicating mechanical plague, Min-Su said grimly. No wonder they have been unstoppable. They consume worlds to build more of themselves. But they have never faced human warfare. Doctrine, Eugene replied, her fingers dancing across the control systems. Our weapons are designed for one purpose, the complete elimination of threats to Earth and its allies. The quantum matrix reached full power, and targeting systems locked onto coordinates 1,200 light-years away. In launch bays throughout the facility, antimatter warheads and hunter-killer drones prepared for deployment. All systems ready, Jae-sung announced. We can strike on your command. Min-Su looked at the alien message still playing on the screens. Help us. They consume worlds. We are the last. He thought about the desperation in those words, and the civilization that was about to die if humanity did nothing. Fire everything, he ordered, for the first time in human history. Earth's true military might prepared to reach across the galaxy and remind the universe why apex predators should never underestimate a species that had clawed its way to the top of its own worlds. Food chain. Captain Bae Soo-jin stared at the massive display. Screen in Earth's orbital command center as data from the Kepler 442 system began streaming in. The quantum entanglement network had worked perfectly, sending humanity's weapons across 1,200 light-years in mere seconds. They could watch their strike unfold in real time. First wave has arrived at target, announced Lieutenant Park Hyman from her station. Antimatter warheads are materializing inside the enemy structures. The screen lit up with brilliant flashes of light as the weapons found their marks. Each explosion released the energy of a small star, tearing through the mechanical constructs that had been systematically destroying the alien worlds. What are we looking at? Asked General Kang Dong-wook, who had arrived from Seoul to witness humanity's first interstellar military action. Dr. Yoon Hujin manipulated the display to show a clearer view of their enemy. What they saw made everyone in the command center step back in horror. The mechanical entities were not ships or buildings, but massive structures the size of continents. They moved like living things, extending long metallic tentacles that wrapped around chunks of planetary matter and drew them into their core bodies. Planet eaters, Soo-jin whispered. They are literally consuming entire worlds. Look at the size of them, gasped Communications Officer Imnari. Some of those things are bigger than Earth's moon. How many civilizations have they destroyed? The antimatter explosions continued to tear through the mechanical swarm, but for every structure destroyed, a dozen more appeared from the shadows of the outer planets. The enemy was vast beyond imagination. Second wave deploying, reported Lieutenant Oh Se-hun. Hunter-killer drones are spreading throughout the system. On the screen, millions of tiny objects scattered like seeds in the wind. The self-replicating drones were so small they appeared as mere dots, but their effect was immediate and devastating. They began attaching themselves to the mechanical entities and multiplying rapidly. each new drone built from materials torn from their hosts. "The drones are working faster than we calculated," observed Dr. Shin Yu-jin, who was monitoring the technical aspects of the attack. "They are using the enemy's own construction techniques against them." Mechanical Plague tried to adapt. Sujin watched in fascination as the Planet Eaters began changing their surface configurations, trying to develop defenses against the hunter-killer drones. But for every adaptation they made, the human weapons evolved faster. "They are learning," noted Colonel Han Minsu. "But they cannot learn fast enough." "That is because they have never faced real warfare," replied General Dong Wook. "Look at their movement patterns. They spread out to maximize consumption efficiency, but they have no defensive formations. They have never needed to protect themselves." The third wave of Earth's assault was the most spectacular. Gravitational disruptors materialized near the system star and began their deadly work. On the display, they could see the star itself beginning to fluctuate as its nuclear fusion processes became unstable. "Are we actually turning their own sun against them?" asked Nari in amazement. "The star will not explode," Yujin explained. "But it will release massive bursts of radiation and gravitational waves that will destroy anything electronic in the system. The mechanical entities depend on complex circuitry to function." As they watched, solar flares erupted from the star's surface with unnatural intensity. The radiation swept through space like a tsunami, overwhelming the electronic systems of the planet-eating machines. One by one, the massive structures began to shut down and drift lifeless through space. "Incredible," breathed Lieutenant Hyman. "The enemy is completely helpless against coordinated attacks." But Sujin noticed something troubling. "Look at the outer edge of the system. Some of the machines are trying to escape." Indeed, several of the Planet Eaters had detected the systematic destruction of their kind and were fleeing toward deep space. Their intent was clear. They would carry news of this defeat to others of their kind elsewhere in the galaxy. "We cannot let them escape," Dongwook said grimly. "If they warn other machine swarms about Earth's capabilities, we lose the element of surprise." "Already handled," replied Yujin with a cold smile. The hunter-killer drones were programmed for this possibility. On the screen, they could see streams of tiny objects pursuing the fleeing machines across interstellar space. The drones did not need fuel or food or rest. They would chase their targets for centuries if necessary, multiplying and evolving until every last machine was eliminated. "Final phase initiating," announced Sehun. "Quantum mines are activating throughout the system. The last weapon in Earth's arsenal was the most thorough. Quantum mines created localized space-time distortions. That made faster-than-light travel impossible. Any machine that tried to escape using advanced propulsion would find itself trapped in a bubble of twisted reality." "Status report," ordered Sujin. "All primary targets eliminated," Hyman replied. "No enemy structures remaining functional." In the inner system, hunter-killer drones are pursuing fleeing units. Its estimated time to complete elimination, 72 hours. "And the survivors?" asked Dong Wook. "The aliens who sent the distress signal?" Dr. Kim Soyoung, monitoring the original alien transmission, looked up with tears in her eyes. "The signal has changed. They are no longer calling for help. They are sending coordinates for underground shelters where they have been hiding." Sujin nodded with satisfaction. Humanity's first interstellar military operation had been a complete success. In less than 6 hours, they had eliminated a threat that had been terrorizing the galaxy for millennia. The machines had learned too late that there was a difference between consuming defenseless civilizations and facing a species that had spent its entire evolutionary history fighting for survival. Communications Officer Im Nari sat at her station in Earth's orbital command center, her fingers hovering over the transmission controls. 3 days had passed since humanity's weapons had cleansed the Kepler 442 system of the mechanical plague, and now it was time for Earth's first official contact with an alien civilization. "Are you ready?" asked Director Ru Sang-woo, who stood behind her reviewing the message they were about to send across 1,200 light-years of space. "The quantum communication array is locked onto their coordinates," Nari replied.
We
"Can transmit instantly to their underground shelters." Through the massive windows of the command center, Earth hung below them like a blue marble, peaceful and beautiful. It was hard to believe that this quiet world had just announced itself to the galaxy as the most dangerous military force in known space. "Dr. Lee," Minho walked over carrying a tablet full of data. Survivors are calling themselves the Villani, he reported. Our translation programs have been working around the clock to understand their language better. They appear to be a peaceful species of scholars and artists who had no weapons capable of approximately 2 million individuals scattered across underground cities on their remaining moon. Minho replied sadly. They had a population of 8 billion before the machines arrived. The Planet Eaters consumed their homeworld and 6 other planets in their system. Captain Bei Sujin joined the group, carrying the final version of humanity's message. Is not just a communication to the Villani, she explained. We know other civilizations will detect this transmission. This will be Earth's first official statement to the galaxy. Took the message and read it carefully. It was simple and direct, written in mathematical concepts that any intelligent species could understand, then translated into the Villani. Language, transmitting now, she announced, and activated the quantum communication system across the vast emptiness of space. Faster than light itself, Earth's message traveled to the survivors hiding beneath the surface of a dead system. But the transmission would not stop there. The mathematical concepts and star charts included in the message were designed to be understood by any civilization advanced enough to detect it. The first part of the message contained detailed technical specifications for defensive technologies. Humans shared the secrets of energy shields, early warning systems, and weapons that could destroy self-replicating machines. Earth was giving away military secrets that had taken decades to develop. Why are we sharing our technology? Asked Lieutenant Park Hyman, who was monitoring the transmission. Should we not keep our advantages secret, because we are not conquerors? Replied Director Sangwu. We want other civilizations to be able to defend themselves. The galaxy has enough predators already. The second part of the message included star charts showing safe routes through space. Human deep space sensors had identified dozens of star systems infected with mechanical plagues similar to the one they had just destroyed. The charts marked these danger zones and provided alternative paths for spacefaring. Civilizations to avoid them? Dr. Shin Yujin arrived from the weapons facility, carrying news from the hunter-killer drones. Final report from the Kepler system, she announced. All fleeing machines have been eliminated. The drones found evidence of 17 different civilizations that had been consumed by the mechanical plague. Villani were indeed the last survivors. 17 civilizations, whispered Nari. How long had those machines been spreading death across the galaxy? Our analysis suggests thousands of years, Yujin replied. They may have consumed hundreds of worlds and billions of intelligent beings. The final part of Earth's message was the most important. It was a simple statement that would echo across the galaxy for generations to come. You are not alone. Earth remembers its friends and eliminates its enemies. The galaxy is vast enough for those who choose life over consumption. Within hours, the first response arrived from the Villani survivors. Their message was filled with gratitude and wonder, but also fear. They could not understand how a distant world had managed to destroy something that had seemed unstoppable. They want to know if we are gods or demons, translated Dr. Minho with a smile. Neither, replied Captain Sujin. We are human. Over the following days, other responses began arriving from across the galaxy. Civilizations that had been hiding, in fear of the mechanical plague, sent cautious greetings. Some offered friendship and trade. Others asked for protection against threats in their own regions of space. But the most significant responses came from the machine intelligences themselves. Deep space monitoring stations detected frantic communications between mechanical swarms. In distant star systems, the Planet Eaters were afraid. They are calling us the Silent Death, reported Lieutenant Osehun, who was analyzing the intercepted machine communications. They know something destroyed their forces in the Kepler system, but they cannot understand how or why. Good, said General Kung Dong-wook, who had remained in the command center to monitor the situation. Fear will make them cautious. They will think twice before attacking another defenseless civilization. Nari looked out at the stars and thought about the message spreading across the galaxy at the speed of light. Earth had announced itself not as a conqueror seeking slaves or resources, but as a guardian protecting the innocent. For the first time in galactic history, the predators were afraid, and the prey had hope. The age of unchecked destruction was ending, and it was ending because humanity had decided that some things were worth fighting for, no matter how far away they were. The sleeping giant had awakened, and its first words to the universe were a promise. Earth would remember its friends and eliminate its enemies.